Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
You were successful pretty quickly, don't you think?
Yes, it happened like it was 6 years. They put me on I got to be on the Tonight Show.
Right.
But then I feel like I wasn't ready to be a headliner yet.
Right.
And so I feel like I always missed those years of middling that would have made me a really strong headliner.
You know, very, very excellent point, Wendella, because I just had Jonathan Katz on, who also was in Boston when you started. And I told him, the one thing I remember about you, and he doesn't like stand-up, by the way, he hates doing stand-up, but he told me that the one thing I remembered about him was that he would only do 40 minutes when he headlined. That was it. He's like, that's all I'm doing. That's all I have. That's all anyone wants to see me. And he was like, and you know, most clubs want 45 to an hour. And I think that I made this choice. I'm going to go on the road and middle so I can get really strong. And the amazing Jonathan, I was working with him at Catch Rising Star. And I was really funny by that time. I think it was like 89, 90. And he said, now you're ready to headline. It's so interesting because I know there's a lot of things comics said to you that stayed with you, but he said, you're really funny and you're really strong. And now you need a closer that no one wants to follow. And that's when I put in, and I am telling you, I'm not going that closer. And he goes, that's when now you're ready to be a headliner. And so it's interesting that you say that you kept your day job and we're not, because when you feature, and a lot of comics now go from social media fame of being able to do 15 minutes to being booked as a headliner, and they don't have the material.
My closing bit was a song.
It was?
It was a song parody.
What was it?
Well, I had a little tape recorder. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I had a tape recorder and I had Suzanne Vega's song, My Name is Orca. They had, instead of My Name is Luca, they had trapped these whales under the ice at the time in the 80s. And I just remember there was a line about Dan Quayle.
Right.
Because it rhymed with whale.
Right.
And I closed with that for 20 years. No, I'm kidding. For
right.
like the first 5 years.
Wow.
And it always got a laugh.
All right. So
maybe
it
they were
worked.
laughing at my voice.
No. So you won this comedy competition in Boston. Is that correct? And that led you to the Tonight Show, correct?
Yes. Because I came out to LA and the Tonight Show was in the audience. And they were like, where have you been? I'm like, Boston.
Boston.
And it was Jim McCauley.
Yeah. Who was the booker for the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Johnny fucking Carson.
No, and it was so surreal.
No, I was going to say, you asked Stephen Wright.
For advice, because he was with Ron he was friends with Ron Lynch. And so I got to meet him and I idolized him. I remember seeing him in college and I saw him on my little black and white TV. This is Stephen Wright I'm talking about. And then the next day I was flying to New York from Boston and I see him get on the plane.
No.
Freaking out. I was like, I know who that is. I didn't realize. I thought it was Art Garfunkel.
Right.
And I was like, that's Stephen Wright. And then I was going to say something to him as he walked off the plane, but I swear he never got off the plane. Maybe he got out the back. I don't know. But I've told him years later that I saw him on the plane. But at that time I said, what advice do you have for me? I'm doing the Tonight Show. And he said, just make this audience laugh.
Just make the studio audience laugh. Don't worry about the audience at home.
Right. So I took that to heart, and that made a lot of sense. Hard to do because you're like freaking out. You're on the Tonight Show.
Right.
But I still just tried to make that audience laugh.
And it's funny because when I did late night for the first time, I was told, don't worry about the studio audience, worry about the audience at home. By someone who didn't do stand-up. It was by like a manager, who right. They always know exactly what to say. So you do the Tonight Show. You were really hot. I mean, in 96, you won the American Comedy Award for Best Female Stand-Up.
Judy, if you're trying to ask me what happened.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that, please, that was my highlight of my career too, was around that time. But it was, what my point was that you were really like the it girl, and yet you had no fucking attitude. No, you had an act. You had no shitty attitude. You were so warm and not cunty. Yeah, you never were like ruthless, which is the thing that I feel like I'm missing, that I could have been more ruthless and maybe I'd be in a different situation, but you were never like that.
Well, I think that's what goes into doing comedy. Like I'm writing a musical right now about 3 stand-up comedians in Vegas over Valentine's Day in 2017, right after Trump gets elected.
Right, and Judy's one of the comics.
And Judy, you could play the waitress who falls in love.
Okay. Okay.
But you could be the lead.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and I'll just change the script a little bit.
Everyone, I'm the lead. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm on Tuesday.
Are you going to put the sheet on the door of who got what part, like they did in high school? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about what makes a comedian, like, you have to have a drive, right? So we have to have like a big ego, but we also have to be really insecure and need constant friends.
And miserable, yeah.
So I think the part of me that you're thinking about is the insecure part, where I don't have a cunty leg to stand on because I'm a piece of shit. It's Judy Toll's joke.
Right. Judy Toll, I am a piece of shit that the world revolves around. Yeah. I love you, Judy Toll. Yeah. I love
you, Judy Toll. So basically, I don't ever feel good enough to be a cunt.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And you are, I mean, I know you for a long time. You are always, and I am too, surprised when people are cunty. Like there are certain comics that have been cunty, and we have both been like, I can't believe these people are cunties, you know? You before you got the Tonight Show, you were being followed by 48 Hours, right? Because you were a secretary during the day at Radcliffe and doing comedy at night. And you won the finals in the Boston comedy competition. That led you to the Tonight Show,
right? Which
then led you to the American Comedy Awards. And you did Letterman. Now, so many people don't know, you really didn't do Letterman and Carson. There were very few people who did both shows.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like being at the Improv or the Comedy Store. Like you were like, I'm in this club or I'm in that. And how did you end up? Because Letterman did not have a lot of women on. It was like Margaret Smith,
Right.
you, Leifer, maybe,
Right.
Boozler, Sandra Bernhardt, right? So, okay. So how did you get Letterman?
I don't remember. I just remember Morty, Robert Morton, who was the booker, sitting in the audience. And I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to make this guy think I'm funny? Like, that's what I have to do. And I also thought that about Barry Katz, who ran Played Again Sam's. I remember thinking, how am I going to get this guy to know that I'm funny? And that was my goal. I wanted people to think I was funny. And I still, to this day, like, that's all I give a shit about. I just want the person that I'm with to be a little bit happier when they leave. Like, to have laughed and felt connected. And anyway, so to answer your question, I guess Morty saw me and he thought I was funny. And
I mean, yeah.
I mean, look at the face.
You did Ferguson.
Yeah.
You tell a story about going to a party at Phyllis Diller's house, which I love. She said something to you, which sort of fed or maybe was the muse for how you deliver your jokes. Can you say what she told you? You have to hit the audience.
You have to hit the audience. Okay, this is when I was like 11 and I heard on Mike Douglas or something.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
And she said you have to hit the audience, and just when they think they're done laughing, you have to hit them again. And I remember I'm 11 and I'm thinking, I know what you mean. It made such sense to me. And then later I got to meet her.
Yep.
I befriended her son and her daughter. Phyllis invited me to a party and her daughter gave me the tour, and her daughter said, this is the après fuck room. They had a room for after fucking.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
The après fuck room. And then I brought Henriette Mentel.
Yes, she was just talking to me about, we were just on the phone and she said, I remember this party at
Buzz Aldrin was there.
No.
And yes, the astronaut. And then Phyllis made an announcement and said, this bathroom, the door won't open. So don't use this bathroom, use the bathroom next to the après fuck room. And then about an hour later, somebody got locked in the bathroom and they had to call the fire department. And it was Phyllis.
I love that story.
Yeah. She called me Liebman.
Oh, I interviewed her once for that, whatever Toyota women's whatever thing in LA. And it was fascinating. It was just fascinating.
She's an artist. Like, she would write.
And a concert pianist. Beyond. Played with multiple orchestras.
Well,
symphonies.
You are too, by the way. You're a
I'm not like, you're good. You're just as good. So shut up.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
You have been compared to Dorothy Parker. We also have something another thing in common, which is the love of variety shows. Now, I know when you were a kid, you loved like Sonny and Cher and SNL and like and I was addicted to those shows too. And I know when you talk about how you remember Phyllis Diller saying that when you were 11, it's like, I remember Joan sitting on those panels and making the whitest guy in the world laugh.
Yes.
and being like completely, brash and unapologetic. And I was like, oh my God, that's I can do that,
I would get nervous for the comedian who was doing stand-up until they got a laugh.
Until they got their first. I read that about you.
Like, this is before I did stand-up.
Right.
Okay, this is how nervous I was, social anxiety. This is in my 20s before I did stand-up. I remember being on a plane, seeing the flight attendant behind the curtain making an announcement, and I got nervous for her.
No way.
Yes. Like, that's how nervous I was. So it's like I totally had to, I don't know if it was drugs. My first 6 years of stand-up, I was sleep deprived, and it helped me get on stage because I didn't have like
defenses were down.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember being in school and they would have announcements in the auditorium or in the cafeteria, and I wanted that microphone so bad. I was obsessed with microphones. And I had one in high school. I got a microphone and I just wanted to have a microphone.
I think it was very phallic.
I know, and I'm a lessee. Okay, so
yes, I love Flip Wilson.
Yeah, love Flip Wilson. One of your first jokes, which is fucking genius. I'm a writer. I write checks. They're mostly fiction. You recently updated that joke. Is that correct?
Well, I've worked on that joke for 35 years.
Right.
And I remember at the beginning, I would say everything that was on the piece of paper, and I never went off. And then I saw Jake Johansson 2 nights in a row, and he did different setups, and I was floored that he could go off script and just talk.
Right.
And so I've played around with that joke ever since. And so now sometimes I say, I'm a writer, I write checks. They're not very good. Mostly fiction.
Right.
So I have lots of different, and it just,
I know. And it's interesting, if you follow Wendela on the Facebook, you will get different versions of the same joke. And she lets people vote on which one they like.
Yes, I've been doing that recently.
And it's really fun. And it's fun to see what other comics say.
I have like 500 to 600 people weighing in, which is funnier, this way or this way. And
I mean, the one about the curse jar, it's fucking hilarious. They're both, the thing is, they're both hilarious, but it really is, what do you think? You've perfected the pregnant pause, and this is all in timing, but it's so interesting because it's the use of the language. You can either use a shitload of words or very few words. It's really, it's just incredible.
Well, do you want me to tell you want me to tell your audience what the 2 jokes are?
Yeah, the 2 jokes. Yeah, I love this. Yeah.
So the first joke is, growing up, we had a swear jar. And every time we swore, we had to put money in the jar. And then at the end of the year, we would take the money and we would go to the fucking Bahamas. So that's number 1. But then I had to do a show where I couldn't swear. And so I thought I could either just not do the joke, but what would the other way be? So then I thought, growing up, we had a swear jar. And every time we swore, we had to put money in the jar. And then at the end of the year, we would take the money and we would go to Disneyland, the Bahamas, Tahiti, Fiji Island, the Galapagos. We would go to water parks.
I know. Just keep going. I picked that one.
and then my daddy would empty the second fucking jar. That's if I want to swear.
Right.
But it's fascinating. Those are 2 different jokes, really.
Right.
And I just loved it. It was really fun for
right.
me to do that on Facebook.
I love doing that. And when I was, in 1995, 4 or 5, I did an HBO special, and it's because of you that I had all that material, because we used to send each other 5 to 10 jokes a day. And
Let's do that again.
I would like to do. Can we?
But only 2 or 3 jokes a day.
Yeah, I can't do 5 to 10. I have other things to do, like
2 or 3.
Okay, we have to do 2 or 3 jokes a day. But that thing that we did built my act. Like, I'm not kidding. I have so many jokes from us, and you did that with a lot of people. You would send, and it's I'm not kidding. Everyone, listen. We're doing this. I guess I don't know. Was it 99? You went to meet this guy, Jeff Sherman, for lunch to talk about an animated show. Is that correct?
Yes. So at the time, I had a girlfriend. I've told you I'm bisexual. So
I know, but I wasn't saying it.
No, I know, but I had a girlfriend.
Because I was trying to be. You did have a girlfriend. I know the girlfriend. I know the whole story. But I was being really good. Wasn't I being really good?
But I had a girlfriend.
And you were obsessed. And then?
And I saw Jeff Sherman, and I pictured him looking like George Costanza because I talked to him on the phone. And so when I met him, it truly was love at first sight for us both. And now I'm not so sure. But at the time, no, it was love at first sight. Like, it was palpable.
I read him say that he saw you walk in and his knees started shaking.
He couldn't stand up.
Right. And you went to talk about an animated show. Now, Jeff Sherman, who I really also would love to have on the podcast, is so fascinating. He is the son of one of the Sherman brothers who wrote every musical of our youth, worked at Disney. And he also has spoken about hanging out at going to like Walt Disney. And when I heard him speak about Walt Disney, I was like, but I thought he was a Nazi.
Right. Well, he did. People thought he was anti-Semitic. I never met Walt Disney, but I just remember Jeff told me when he was a little boy, he went to Disney Studios with his dad, Robert Sherman. They were working on Mary Poppins. And his father said, "This is Walt Disney." And Walt took him to the studio where they were doing The Rooftops of London.
Right.
And he said, "What do you think?" And Jeff was like, Jeff was like 5 or something. "I don't really think people are going to think that they're dancing on rooftops because it's on the floor."
Right.
Walt Disney bent down and goes, "This is what they're going to see."
Right. And he held up his hand. Yeah.
Held up his hand and he goes, "That's movie magic. Don't tell your friends."
Yeah. I love that story.
I know.
And that the fact that Walt Disney was like, I need the opinion of a 5-year-old,
Exactly. Well, he knew his audience.
Right.
And he remembered all the kids' names.
Right. That I heard Jeff say that he remembered everyone's name always.
I love it.
So you meet Jeff at this lunch and you have to break off this relationship like immediately. It
took months.
It did?
Yeah. It took a couple of months.
Oh, I thought it was pretty quick, but whatever. But in lesbian time,
I know it was
a couple of months is like, usually it's like 5 years. But anyway.
Right.
And you get married.
I didn't invite you because
It's fine. It's fine. I couldn't go to Judy Gold's wedding because I was like 9 months pregnant, but whatever. So you guys get married and you become, not only are you married to, he is such a great guy. Like, he's such a fucking great guy. And you become a stepmom. And you took to it, like you and Susie Essman both married people with kids and became their mothers. And were so good at it. Like you really embrace that. And like I've been over to your house. The love in that place is palpable.
Well, my stepsons have a mother.
Right.
So, but we had them like 90% of the time.
Right.
So yes, I became a stepmom, and my youngest was just in town.
Right.
And I consider them my children. Like,
of course.
Children. So I do remember a taxi cab driver in Denver once said to me, "Don't fool yourself. Even though you're helping raise them, they're always going to love their mother more." So I always had that in the back of my head.
Oh, fuck you. Did you give him a big tip, the taxi driver?
Probably. But I figure, like, in life, you get roles to play.
Mm-hmm.
And my role as a stepmom, I chose how I wanted it to be. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I wanted to put everything into it.
I love that.
Even though my husband, Jeff, is like, he's the cook and he's very maternal, my husband.
He's very Renaissance man-y.
Well, so are both of my stepsons.
Yeah.
Like, they're both musicians and they're both very like sensitive and but also like they're just cool. And
you're a grandmother, correct?
I am a great grandmother. No, I'm a grandmother.
Yeah.
I'm a grandmother. I'm a step grandmother. One of my other stepson had a baby, and I never had a baby.
Right.
So this is a really new experience. I've held my niece when she was a baby, but this is like the first baby that loves me, and I can imagine what it's like to be
right. Do you feel like I
feel old.
Well, you are, but do you feel like I look at you with that baby and it's so natural. Do you feel like it is completely a natural? Because some people are like, oh wait, how do there doesn't seem to be any of that.
Well, I did drop her twice.
No. Okay.
No, it really just does feel natural. It's I'm a booby.
You're a booby. Now you married Jeff, and we did a few road gigs together, which were fucking crazy. 4 women went out. I wanted to kill myself. We were in the shittiest hotel. You definitely have insomnia, or you had weird sleeping patterns. I remember that, but women comics, we never got to go on the road together. So it was always, we did it. We made no money, but we did it so we could be together. And
yeah, I think we owed money at the end of that.
Yes.
In Minnesota.
It was so stupid, but you made me laugh so much, and making you laugh is the best fucking thing in the entire world.
I feel the same way too.
Oh, stop. So in 2014, you and Jeffrey were hit by a drunk driver in a car, like 8 cars or 9 cars, and one family did anyone pass?
One person died in the car next to us.
And you saw, I remember you telling, yeah.
And I just remember looking over and going, oh my God, she just died. That woman just died. And it was a wake-up call. It was like, I'm getting like PTSD thinking about it.
All right, we don't have to talk about it, but it was a drunk driver.
Right.
And I remember when that happened, I remember reading about it and, talking to you about it. And it made you do America's Got Talent.
It really did. After the accident, I was sitting on the bus bench waiting for the cops to arrive. And I thought, I have to get back out there. I have to
hustle.
I have to hustle. I had been staying home a lot to help raise the boys. And I was like, I'm going to do America's Got Talent. I had seen Tom Cotter on it. And I thought, that looks like fun. And so even though I got a lot of flack for doing it, because people were like, you were on the Tonight Show, the producers didn't care. They were like, there were some singers who had already had contracts with major record labels. They didn't care. They just wanted a good show. So I auditioned for America's Got Talent. And Yeah, I did that show.
I remember talking to you about it, and I remember you saying people were like being judgy about it. And you were like, Jeff wants me to do it, and I want to do it, and I'm going to do it. And you got to the semis, and then Howard picked you as his whatever
Yeah.
and you went you went to the finals, right?
No, I was semifinalist. He brought me back, and then I was semifinalist.
Did it do what you wanted it to do? I mean, in a way, you have people going, oh, well,
Right.
But when I spoke to you, I felt like you did it for you.
I needed to do it for me. And did it do what I want? I don't know what I wanted to do, which has been like a problem my whole life. I don't have a plan.
Right.
But I got a little more exposure, and I sold out a couple of clubs, which I hadn't done before. And so I felt like it was a win in that way. And now people say, oh, you were on America's Got Talent. So I feel like it's all cumulative.
I agree.
And I don't know if I would have done it now, like if I was offered that now or making that decision again. I don't know, but I feel like it was the next step. And after I did that, that's when I realized, oh, I just want to be home. I want to stay close to home. And so I started a club here in LA.
Right.
To get you to come out.
The
Tellos, locally grown comedy. And I've had everybody from Arsenio to Tig Notaro to Nikki Glazer to Billy Gardell to George Lopez. I mean, I've had
you've really, it's been
No, I hosted it. I
know. Yeah. And your son plays music at it.
And one of my stepsons does music beforehand.
Right.
Yeah.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself. You can process and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it and you sit there and you wait. And then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
Then you were meeting a friend for lunch, I guess 2018, 4 years later after. You're walking across the street, you have the right of way, and you get hit by a car. And you break a leg and both your foot, and you have a rod in your leg. And it was like almost a year recovery. You had to learn how to walk again.
Well, the rod was put in wrong.
Right. Oh, that's right.
So my foot should have been like this.
I remember. Yeah.
Like that. because the leg was on wrong. So they had
Right.
to break my leg. And so that's why it was such a long, because the first time it had to heal before they could re-break it.
Right. And this was in the emergency room.
Well, they didn't re-break it in the emergency. Oh,
No, I'm saying they put it on wrong in the ER.
well, it was like an elbow doctor or a shoulder
Right.
doctor, and he was working on my leg. So, but
maybe he should stay with the elbow. It happened to my brother with his hip. Same thing. He had to have it because he fell off a bike and they fucking did it wrong.
I just felt like maybe my leg was so mangled, it was hard.
Right.
To tell. So it was 18 degrees off. And so now it's fine.
Right. I mean, I remember I visited you.
I know. That was
I love you.
easy.
And you were still recovering, but what a fucking positive attitude. I mean, you are the one non-complaining Jew I know. Like, you were like, this is it. Huh?
I needed a rest.
So you then got another rest because you got all healthy. You're starting to do shows again, and the fucking pandemic hits.
I'm telling you, they don't want me on stage.
Shut up. So
So I did one show. Judy, I sang at my show.
That right.
I sang 4 songs.
You sang to Jeff.
I did. I sang In My Life. And then I opened by singing Help, because there's a line in the song that said, help me get my
feet back on the ground. Yeah.
And then I sang a Joni Mitchell cover, Twisted, about her analyst. And then at the end, everybody said with a
little help from my friends.
Were you there?
No, I did a little research. Yeah. I love that. And you said that is the greatest, if you're going to go out and not be able to perform, that was the greatest night to, be your last show. And then you ended up doing a lot of the Zoom. We both did a lot of Zoom shit.
You showed me how to do it. You showed me how to do it. Because you were like, I'm just going to do what I do.
Right.
And so that gave me a lot of confidence.
And I would look at the gallery and do crowd work. Like, what? You're asleep? Bob, why are you asleep? But I love the line. You once got heckled and someone said they had a better punchline for your joke. Best return ever, you said.
So it was San Francisco in the early 90s. And this woman was like, the whole time was like, I'm a comedian. And I'm talking to her and being nice, whatever. And then she goes, I could have written a better punchline than that. And I really wanted to just cry and run off the stage. This was Cobb's.
Right.
The old Cobb's.
Yep.
By the wharf. And instead, I don't know where it came from, Judy. Maybe it's like that fight or flight.
Yeah.
Thing. But she goes, I could have written a better punchline. And I go, and where are you working tonight?
It's so great. So fucking burned, bitch.
I have one other heckle. So I used to open my show by saying I'm nervous because I took a year off to have a baby. People clap, and then I say that didn't happen. and then I would follow it up by saying I did eat for 2. And this woman yells out, obviously. And I was really taken aback because I have body issues.
Right. I want to fucking punch your face in.
I couldn't give a fuck.
And what did you say?
And I said, what is your name again, bitch?
Fucking love you. I want to just talk about 3 more things and then we can, because I could talk to you. First of all, I'm putting this out there. It's my vision board. I want to go on tour with Wendy. I have been talking about it. All these fucking guys go on tour and they're like, my dick is small. They name the tour, the Small Dick Tour, and they fucking sell out stadiums. And I am doing this. I'm telling you right now, Wendy and I are going on the road. We're going to pick a couple other people. And we're doing it. And it's not going to be called My Dick is Small. But I resent social media because I feel like, I did all this work and then the rules changed. And you love social media because you're positive and you look at the positive part of it. So kudos to you for that.
I'm medicated.
Me too.
Okay.
One of the questions I ask all the guests is if they're on meds, because we're very pro mental health, and what they do for their mental health. So you are on meds. What do you take?
I take Effexor.
Oh, I was on that.
And how did you get off of it?
It was shit. It was hell.
I've tried twice.
Yeah, because you're like, your brain goes fucking crazy.
Well, my therapist is like, if you were diabetic, you wouldn't go off of insulin. So why are you trying to go off?
Yeah, I know.
But I'm just, I'm down a little bit on how much I take, and it seems to be better.
Okay. I, just for the listeners, I switched from Paxil to Luvox because as my doctor was like, oh, they call Paxil Paxon, because I got fat. And then so I went to Luvox and Wellbutrin, but the Paxil was always the one that really worked. But I was just like, I'm sick of being fat. Then the pandemic comes, I go on Luvox, I get fatter. So I was like, you know what? I'm freaking out. I'm crying all the time. I'm like, I lose my keys and then I start screaming like a fucking lunatic. So I'm back on the Paxil and I feel really good.
What about you said Luvox?
I got off the Luvox and went back on the Paxil. I was like, I think, I can't deny that that's what works.
Right. I love Wellbutrin, but I broke out in hives.
The Wellbutrin is used so you can have an orgasm, because, it undoes that part of it. But, who cares? What else do you do for your mental health? Do you meditate? I know you play the piano. I know you're writing a musical and a book.
I don't meditate.
Yeah.
I do ride an exercise bicycle.
Me too.
I don't twin, but I ride it to the Peloton commercials. I have a recumbent bike. I ride it 10 miles a day.
Wow.
It takes about an hour.
Right.
And this is a new thing I've been doing for mental health, Judy. I have been drinking tons of alcohol. No, I'm kidding. I've been drinking hot water. I don't mean warm. I mean, instead of coffee, I drink coffee also. Hot water throughout the day. I don't know what it does. It calms me down.
No way.
Hot.
Like water. Hot coffee hot?
Coffee, hot water, 145 degrees actually. Like I bought this mug that keeps it the same temperature all day.
That's mental, and I'm not doing that. Sorry.
Well, you asked.
Okay. The other thing I ask all my guests, because the podcast is called Kill Me Now, because as you know, Wendela, I say kill me now about 100,000 times a day because everything gets on my fucking nerves. So what pisses you off more than anything in the entire world?
Well, first of all, I have to say that when we did a benefit, when I asked you to do your benefit, that's probably when your managers told you not to do benefits
anymore.
No. It was for the Safe Center on Long Island, which is like domestic abuse. And, right. And I couldn't say kill me now. I couldn't say you were from Kill Me Now.
Right.
What pisses me off? I don't like to feel ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like when people are rude.
Yeah.
Actually, even more than that. I wish people were nicer.
People are so fucking mean lately.
It doesn't cost anything to be nice.
Right.
And I understand it's hard to be nice if you're unhappy or feel sick or whatever.
Right.
I just think that's what pisses me off.
Yeah, I really hate when people are rude.
And also when the perforation on a bill isn't on the fold.
Oh, what the fuck? When I get residual checks and it's like,
yes,
and I'm like, really? Why is the perforation underneath the and then you can't do it because there's not enough space to get the fucking thing? I know, the worst.
But that's a little thing that pisses.
Right, but it's annoying, and I need that 39 cents. Wendela,
I love you so much.
I love you so much, and I'm not kidding. I'm putting that out there.
Okay, I would love to do that.
But we got to pick who else,
I know.
and or it could just be the two of us. And I can't wait to see you in person. Everyone, where can everyone find you? Can you tell? And follow Wendy. Like if you're on Facecock, follow Wendy because you will get in on the whole joke writing process, which is fascinating. And Wendy and I are going to be sending each other 2 to 3 jokes a day. We also, a secret, we send each other jobs that we would be having right now if we weren't doing stand-up. We always send like what we could have done instead.
I mean, why couldn't I have just been the most hilarious kindergarten teacher?
Right. I could have been a refrigerator repair person or something,
A really funny advertising.
Yeah.
But no, we had to pick.
Yeah, we had to do this fucking shit. So at Wendy Liebman is that your tweetar?
Twitter, and I'm on Instagram.
Liebman. Are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok.
Me neither. And everyone's like, you can be on TikTok. It's like, I can't. I can't do it. I can't make another commitment.
More.
I know.
Pick one.
Yeah, I can't. It's too much. You are a delight. I love you so much.
Love you so much.
And then Elisa sent me right before, please send my love to Wendela.
We had so much fun once in your hotel room.
I know. The 3 of us. Oh, yeah! You are the best, Wendy.
Come to LA soon, or
I will. I miss you.
Parents.
Okay.
So much.
I love you. Thank you.
Everybody, Judy's book. Judy's book.
Your book, Isabel, that's coming out, and your musical that you're writing about that I'm starring in, and you're the best. Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of Kill Me Now with my friend, Wendy Liebman. I love her so much. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast would not be possible without the help of Brittany Jo Sowards. Now, if you like the show, which if you listened to this part of the show, then you like it. So you need to subscribe and leave a review of 5 stars so I can, feel good about myself and other people can find the podcast. If you haven't purchased my book, I've been saying this for a year now. Yes, I can say that. When they come for the comedians, we're all in trouble. You really are not a Judy Gold fan. Also, if you're traveling, the audiobook is great. You might not want to listen to it in front of your kids unless you're me, and you don't care if your kids hear curse words because who the fuck cares? Anyway, also, the movie Hysterical on Hulu is fantastic. I'm featured in that. It's about women's stand-ups. Anyway, I'll be doing some other TV stuff coming up, but just get my book, seriously. And thank you for listening. And it would mean so much to me if you would check everything out at my website, judygold.com. There's links to my book there. I hate the way I'm talking right now. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All upcoming events. I am in Provincetown all summer. I'm performing at the Art House Fridays and Saturdays in July at 9 p.m. and Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 7:30 in August, okay? So if you're on the Cape, come and laugh. We need to fucking laugh. This world is fucking crazy. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD, like Jew Gold, because I'm a Jew. I don't know if you knew it was a Jew. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Get vaccinated. Be safe. I love you all. And as we always say, so long.
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.